Hello and welcome to the Senior Spotlight, where we send the class of 2025 into the spotlight to speak about their future decisions after high school. I'm your host, Lucas Wachowski. Today we're speaking to Nolan Del Valle and getting an insight on the free application day for in-state schools. So those in-state schools included UConn, Southern, Eastern, Western, and Central. So for our first segment, we're just going to speak about your decision for UConn. And just to start off, what stood out about UConn to you?
What really stood out about UConn was just the environment it's grown over the past few years. You know, the culture. Just it's supposedly a lot of nicknames for it. Just the undeclared Ivy and the atmosphere socially and in the sports. It was just something that drew me in.
Yeah, and I know it's a lot larger of a school. Did you prefer the larger size, or would you want something smaller?
Yeah, that was the bigger thing too. Is just I don't want it to feel like it's ever really empty, because with those smaller schools, it'll often feel like you're just alone, sort of. But like there's always going to be something going on in the large school like UConn. You'll be able to see a lot of people, meet a lot of different people, and grow those connections.
Yeah, and you kind of spoke about this, but with the sports and everything. But were there any other aspects of like the campus life, like the location or like student-teacher ratios that were kind of crucial for choosing?
Yeah. So Stores was the area itself outside of the campus isn't great, but the campus itself is like pretty much a large downtown area. So like students can go around. You can go get different places. There's like food places like Ted's and whatnot. You can go to. My brother also kind of showed me around, and I got like the lay of the land. So it definitely seems pretty awesome. I'm definitely excited to experience that campus lifestyle.
Yeah, and brother showed you around beforehand before you applied too?
Yeah, because he went to UConn too, so he gave me a little intro.
That's cool. Was the experience, like when he was showing you around, did that help your decision of going to UConn?
Yeah, totally, because I mean, when you're going there for like tours and whatnot, or like, I mean, this is true for every school, they're going to make it like seem obviously as good as they possibly can, but like when I'm going there, like just like with my brother, I get to like experience like the campus how he did, and go around like as if I'm an average everyday student, just looking around, checking out different places. So that was just a unique perspective, and I appreciated it.
Did your brother kind of give you like a lot of good insights about it, like giving it a lot of positive light towards you?
Yeah, he totally did. I mean, he definitely told me like, make the decision for yourself, because we are different people at the end of the day. But he gave me like a lot of things. Like he told me a lot of stuff about it, like socially and like how you're gonna like fit in there. And I thought that was really important, and helped me kind of make the decision and narrow down between different schools, like how I want to fit in.
Yeah, that's good. And kind of speaking about the narrowing down, did you, on the free application day, did you apply to a bunch, or did you kind of hone in on UConn?
Yeah, I applied to Central, Southern, and I applied to Quinnipiac also.
Hey, nice. And how'd you end up narrowing down your options? Were there a few like negatives at the other schools that kind of crossed them off your list, or was UConn just the top pick?
Yeah, the biggest thing, so all things obviously they all had in common with they were in-state, which honestly I applied to a lot of schools that were out-of-state as well, but those are big for in-state, because I want to be able to still be close to like my family, my friends, just in case anything ever happened. But yeah, the big in-state was definitely a big thing about that. And then what helped me kind of narrow down was sort of just like cost and the environment around it. So, in-state tuition is going to be a lot better, obviously, for most places. And then you think of like Quinnipiac, it's like a certain amount of money per year. And then UConn, a lot more, be able to get like tuition off. And then just for the in-state tuition is really not bad.
Yeah, and I mean, even like being able to apply for free and early on, that probably definitely helped too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did not want to have to pay, I think it was like $80 usually for those applications, and that was just not something I wanted to do. So honestly, the November 1st deadline gave me a lot of time early in the year to like finalize my application and work with my guidance counselor to try to just get to that point. And it also gave me just like more of like a strict guideline of like, okay, I can't slack though either, so I'm going to get it done by this point, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard from a lot of other people who are applying for colleges, getting it done sooner is a lot easier than kind of holding it off. It kind of relieves that stress off early on, and it was the same way for me when I was applying that early as well. Do you have any advice that you would give to someone who's choosing to attend the free application day?
Yeah, I would definitely say, don't feel uncomfortable asking your guidance counselor all these questions, asking all these different people all these kinds of questions, and just double checking. You're not going to get penalized just because you're being thorough in your application. You're making sure that you're, 100% there and ready. It's definitely important to make sure that you're 100% ready to go.
All right, we're going to talk about how you feel about staying in state for your college. So just kind of generally, what made you decide to stay in state?
What really made me decide to stay in state was mostly just thinking about, obviously I wanted to, get this bit of independence and live away from home. But at the same point, it'd be a lot harder for me to just be like, okay, I can't really, if I was, like, let's say, going like to somewhere like Pennsylvania or like Massachusetts, it's like more of like a 2 to like 4 hour drive and whatnot for those places. So it's just so much harder for me to come down and like visit my family than it would be for like UConn, where it's like, okay, 45-minute drive with no traffic. And birthdays, going to see my family, even just traveling down for like the things like Christmas is so much less stress because I don't have to like worry about big travel.
Yeah, and I understand that. I mean, for where I'm going is a lot further away, so I was kind of like on the negatives about it. I can definitely see how like staying closer is definitely greater, and I know it's probably more like familial for you because your brother went there. And you're really close to home, so if anything happens, you could always go. And so that sounds like a great like community and place to stay. Are you familiar with like the kind of surrounding area and the campus a bit already?
Yeah, actually, because my brother, his second 2 years, he lived off campus. So even when I'd come up and like see him, kind of knew like the neighborhood he was staying in. And I know like Storrs is kind of like a very like underdeveloped, but it's like a very broad place. There's a lot of farms surrounding it. So, and there's also like Eastern University near there too. I definitely knew like the kind of like area I was getting into. It's definitely better to stay on the campus anyways. Just it's so much more built up than the rest of Storrs. So.
Yeah, right. And I mean, when I was touring UConn, it was a really nice campus anyways. Like, I remember going to the dairy farm, and it was like a great place seeing the cows and the fields and everything. Cool. I know you spoke about this already, but you spoke about the in-state tuition benefits. Did that kind of influence your decision a lot, or was that sort of more minor?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, I'm looking at like other schools that are like similar to UConn in a sense, like big like schools with a similar environment, but the tuition for those out of state is like definitely ballooned up. Like you look at places like Penn State, where I'm still waiting on my decision for there, but because I had applied to UConn and gotten in by that point, and just tens of thousands of dollars more. It was just so it was a very like clear line of like, okay, I'd like to have these things, but the in-state tuition makes it so much easier to just narrow down the decision for that.
Yeah, right, and I totally agree. Just getting those benefits is probably the best thing you can do. You don't want to be spending so much on college that it's kind of impossible to recover, but the in-state tuition benefits are definitely really good. Did you tour colleges that were out of state at all?
Yeah, I did. I toured a lot of colleges in Massachusetts and New York, and I toured in Pennsylvania, and then even I went down to Louisiana and toured a college there. Nice.
And do you think you would have had a major like differences in experiences compared to the in-state to the out-of-state?
Definitely, for sure. I mean, there's definitely so many more people that are going in-state to those colleges and out-of-state. So thinking like I'm much more familiar with like a lifestyle. So like being in UConn is just going to be a little bit more familiar than if I like let's say I went to like LSU, which is another school I looked at, and just a whole different culture down there.
Nice. And all right, so we're going to go to our Fast 5 segment, which is just quick 5 questions just to get to know you better. So just to start off, what's your favorite way to spend a weekend?
Depends. Probably just going out and finding something to do. I don't really like sitting at home the whole time. I'm always just trying to drive around, find a place to eat, find somewhere just hang out, just do something.
Okay, nice. And if you had a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
Good question. Probably, if I had to have anything, probably flight would be pretty cool, because then I wouldn't really have to worry about driving around or flying in a plane or anything. I wouldn't have to pay for any plane trips. It would be expensive, so that'd be pretty nice, honestly.
If you could live in any fictional universe, which one would you choose?
That's a tough one. Probably, Star Wars would be cool, right? That lightsaber.
Yeah, Star Wars would be really cool. That's the one I was thinking about as well.
That's a good one.
You could time travel to any era. When would you go?
It would be cool to go back to like the 1970s or something. That would be like a whole different culture. The hippie era. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
Because my parents grew up too. That's weird to think about.
Yeah, And if you could master any musical instrument, which one would it be?
I played a few different instruments, but guitar. But I think I'm already decent at guitar. I'd probably piano. I'm not great at piano, so that'd be fun.
Piano seems really cool to play. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to try it. All right, so now we're going to go to our third segment, which we're just going to speak a bit more about the free application day and the experience throughout that. What was your main reason to participate in the free application day?
My main reason was honestly just like because I applied. I was planning on applying to a lot of schools. Well, after a while, I mean, those costs were going to stack up. You know, it was going to be like hundreds of dollars of just applications. So I was able to knock out like I was in 4 of like my applications there, and those were just great. You know, took like definitely some costs off. Actually doing because that was the deadline for early decision for UConn, so I got that decision back before I even applied to some of my other schools too. So I saved costs on those as well to turn back for my decision.
Yeah, that's really nice, and just saving all that money is really important for college as well. You apply to everything; it'll stack up, like you said. I mean, when I was applying, I didn't spend any money on applications. Pretty much everything I did was the free days, which really benefited me. During the application process, did you feel that you were given enough information and support throughout the whole thing?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Scouters, they do have to worry about a lot of different people, so it's very important that you're like being proactive and communicating with them. They might not be able to communicate everything to you, which, I mean, obviously isn't their fault. They have a lot to deal with. But just make sure you're always just in contact with like your guidance counselor and your parents and whoever else is helping you with those decisions. But I do feel like I got like a lot of the information across was pretty standard.
And I know my guidance counselor kind of helped me, but they do have a lot to do. So you kind of got to be independent at times as well, just kind of
Totally
going forward and knowing what to do and when to do it. Were there any like specific colleges you were excited to apply to that day? Like I know UConn obviously, but anything else?
Yeah, Central too, honestly. Central is definitely something that's like a place that's growing as a university. Even like both my sisters went there, and you know it's not slowing down anytime soon. They're building up. They're adding new places, new buildings. You know, so I definitely see that growing over the next few years, and it's not a bad school at all.
Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of people who went to Central as well. I talked to Dylan Bathrick on the podcast a few episodes ago, and he said he's excited for Central. So I'm sure all the state schools are really nice. And that day was kind of good. I was excited to apply to UConn as well, even though that's not where I ended up going. Those places where it was a great day to kind of enjoy yourself and apply. How do you feel to be able to submit your applications sort of all on that same day?
Definitely felt a lot of pressure, like I was going to miss something. But I think that was just normal. Like I knew like other people were, felt that way. Like even just sitting with them, I was like, I'm nervous. And they're like, yeah, me too. But I knew I'd done everything on my application. I was set. So it was definitely like a little nervous at first. It's like, it's out of my hands. But at the same point, it's a big relief because it's like, it's at the same point, it's really not in my hands anymore. It's, it's up to other people. So big thing. So I just got to focus on, school and sports and whatever else.
And I kind of felt the same way when doing all that. It was a big relief just to kind of get the applications done. I didn't feel as like much stress, but like you're saying, it's a big day as well. And now that you've kind of applied and get accepted, what are you the most excited about now?
I'm probably the most excited on just moving in. Honestly, I think that's going to be just depending on like, where I'm going to be on campus, like which building, just like setting up like a dorm room, getting like a new, like basically just a clean slate really, because it's going to be a whole, I'm going to meet new people. So that whole process is going to be exciting. Sad a little bit, but exciting. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I agree. That whole experience is a lot of fun as well. I'm excited for it when I go up and do that. And most challenging part of the application process for you?
Challenging part was I want to say essay. Definitely like something I probably should have done a little bit earlier, or at least like focus a little bit more on, and I think I definitely got it all tidied up towards the end. That was like, I think that was the best part of my application, just looking at like grades. It's like I really need to stand out in like other aspects, which I thought the essay did great, but that was definitely something I spent a lot of time on.
And I know like kind of that whole week before, I kind of kept rereading my essay as well, just kind of making sure it was great to kind of submit and kind of perfect. And For just kind of the ending question, do you have any final advice, anyone, for any juniors or underclassmen that are planning to attend the free application day?
For the free application day, really just, don't count any schools out. Even if you're like, let's say, I don't really intend on going to this school. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe, the school, rubs off on you. Maybe you like it and changing your mind or something. Really just, it's a free day. It's really no cost to you. Just send them in. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and I completely agree. That day is really important just to kind of get it done and get it early in, and then getting all that stress off is great as well. So congratulations on getting into UConn, by the way.
Thank you.
In summary, it kind of sounds like despite the stress that was applying to colleges, especially on the free application day, it's a big day. Really important to stay positive and confident, which is what you did. And you kept a strong attitude and kind of led you to achieve one of your biggest goals and dreams of attending UConn. And even with the busy guidance counselors, you were able to find enough support from your brother and your family, and then the guidance from the guidance counselors to give a great experience and prepare for your college application. So what I want the listeners to do is kind of do the same, stay positive, and despite any stress that they may be feeling, they just need to find that positive mindset to achieve their goals. And if needed, they need to ensure that they get the support to make stressful experiences as easy as possible. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and thank you for coming on. And in the next episode of the Senior Spotlight, thank you for listening.
Thank you.